10 facts about North Korea. North Korea is a bizarre country to say the least. There are weird rules and systems in the country which believes the deceased founder Kim Il-sung still rules the regime in spirit form. Here are those reasons. 1. The North Korean calendar is based on its founder's date of birth. It is the 21st century for the rest of the world, but for people in North Korea, it is still the 106th Jewish year. The North Korean Jewish calendar begins from April 15, 1912, which is the date of the birth of its founder, Kim Il-sung. I think this is the highest form of communism. That is to say that the state is a perpetual and as well as a divine property of the king's family. This is what it signifies. The second point we're going to talk about is power cut every night in North Korea. Just imagine how annoying occasional power cuts are, and to think of how the entire state of North Korea goes dark at night is apparently due to the energy crisis in the state, that it can't supply sufficient electricity to its homes. This was revealed after a photo of North Korea taken from space went viral. The third part we're going to talk about is elections with only one candidate to choose from. With the country's totalitarian regime and the same family ruling since 1948, it's rather funny that elections are held every year. Voters have only one option to choose from. I can't imagine that whether it's the election for a mayor, provincial governors, or local assemblies, there is only one candidate on the ballot in each district. What a farce. This is a strange thing, right? I can't come to terms with it. The fourth thing we are going to talk about is the 3-generation punishment rule. The 3-generation punishment rule is a horrifying reality of a country which can't stand any criticism from its citizens. If one person commits a crime, his entire bloodline, including the grandparents, parents, and children, are sent to prison. To me, I think this is hilarious. Punishment for crime should be on the person that commits the crime. Comment on the comment section below what you think about this matter, because to me, I think each person should face what he did and not the parents facing it, or the grandchildren, or the children. Just comment below so I will know what you think about it. The fifth point we're going to talk about today is you might be held captive for being creative in North Korea. It sounds weird. You might be held captive for being creative in North Korea. Can you imagine this fact about North Korea? One, being held captive for being creative. Oh, I feel for North Korean citizens. Is one of the popular stories that Detective Kim Jung Il kidnapped a film director, Shin Sang-ok, and his wife, actor Cho Eun-hye, in 1978 to inject creativity. He kidnapped them in 1978 because they tried to inject creativity in North Korean films. Later, in 1986, after being held against their will for almost a decade, the couple gradually earned the detective's trust and escaped during a trip to Austria, where they were promoting North Korean films. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights 1948 is not being observed in North Korea, as the citizens are not allowed to create their own innovations. I think this is one of the things that the United Nations considered before placing several sanctions on North Korea. The next point we are going to talk about is North Korea, a propaganda village. Like so many other propaganda activities, there also exists a propaganda village on the border of North Korea and South Korea. That is to say, there exists a propaganda village on the border of North Korea and South Korea. This point proves the fact that North Korea is going against the United Nations laws and also the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, as they force propagandas on their citizens in order to blindfold them on the real thing happening in the world. The North Korean government is trampling on its citizens' freedom of speech thoughts and expressions according to the United Nations laws. In 1953, the Korean Demilitarized Zone was established to end the war and serve as buffer zone between the two countries. On these borders lies Kim, the village which boasts of the economic success of North Korea. The people who have observed the village from South Korea have said that this village is just a sham with no one living there, and the occasional sightings of the workers who sweep the streets is believed to be a fake show of development built to attract South Korean defectors and intimidate South Korea. Guys, can you imagine the height of the seat which is being played on the citizens by North Korean governors? The next point we are going to talk about is North Koreans can visit only 28 websites. The fact that North Korean citizens are allowed to only visit 28 websites, this is an attack and also a limitation on their internet access, and also a law that helps the government and backs up the government in the government trying to force propaganda and false teaching on their citizens. Their intranet, which is called jong-il or bright, through which internet is accessed, is free to use for those with access to a computer. The computers, however, are very expensive and one needs prior permission from the government to buy one. The next point we're going to talk about is the dead body of Kim Jung Il. North Korean regime has preserved the dead body of Kim Jung Il. They have left no stone unturned to prove themselves sole proprietor of the country. The country has preserved the dead body of North Korea's late leader, Kim Jung Il, in a glass tomb and is open for tourists to view, and they are required to bow down at his feet and arms. Another point that we have here, the second to the last point we're going to talk about in this video, is blue jeans are banned in North Korea. North Korea sees blue jeans as a symbol of US imperialism, and hence North Korea government has banned it in the country. The next point we are going to emphasize on this video today is there is no religious freedom in North Korea. Like restrictions on every other aspect of life, there is no religious freedom in North Korea. The country calls itself an atheist state and prosecutes anyone who is seen practicing any religion. This is the end of this video. Please, I want you to know that this video is meant to be educative and not to be biased. Thank you for watching this video. Like, share and subscribe to this YouTube channel if you haven't. See you in the next video for the second episode. Bye.